All right, welcome back. So we're going to do a little more complex math in this video. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to get the x and y values from 2 points. And if we have 2 points, we can figure out the line that goes through them. So we're going to find that equation. The first thing we want to do is successfully save our program in this folder, our Python folder. So let's make sure we do that. So I'm going to go File, Save As. Okay, on my desktop, I got the Python unit. Inside Packet 1. Inside my lectures. This should be the third one that you have in there. And this is going to just be line.py. Save. Okay. So let's start coding a little bit with it and see what we can find here. So right off, start with a boast. I can find the equation of any line. Okay. So now we have to start with the inputs. Let's start with this right here. So x1. So x1 is going to be the input. Remember, input, that means I'm asking something from the user. The input of what is the x value of your first point. Okay. So just think for a couple seconds and see if you can find in your own mind the error in line 3, because there's definitely an error. You see it? Okay. We got to put this there. INT first. Got to put INT in there first. INT means that we're accepting an integer. You could make the case that we could put in decimals, but for right now I'm just going to stick with integer values, right? So once I have that, because otherwise Python wouldn't know it was a number, and if it doesn't know that it's a number, then we can't do any work with it, basically, mathematically behind the scenes. So what I want to do now is I need to get my first x value. I need to get my first y value. Get out of here. I want to get my second x value, and I want to get my second y value. So of course now I'm going to have to do a little bit of changing here. Y value, and these are going to be both of my second point. Let me just double check real quick. X value of your first point is x1. What's the y value of your first point? y1. X value of your second point, x2. Y value of your second point, y2. Fantastic. Okay. Control S. Now we have to go to the drawing board and refresh ourselves with a little bit of math. Okay. So let's say I have 2 points like this. In this case, my 3 is my x1, and this is my y1, and this is my x2, and this is my y2. So the way you find an equation of a line is you do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that is going to give us our slope. Cool. In this very specific case, right? What? I'm writing right underneath my head. Get out of here. See if I'll just move this down right here. So in this very specific case, it is going to be 14 minus 6 over 5 minus 3. 14 minus 6 is 8. 8 over 3 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. It's good to know the very specific case, but it's better to know the more general case. So while this whole area is correct, this is what I really want to know, right? And that's going to come in key later on. So if I go back to my my coding here, if I go back to my coding, the first thing I want to do when I find an equation of a line is I need to find my slope. So my slope is going to be equal to, now don't do this please, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. If I just do it like this, Python follows the order of operations, and it's just going to do this middle part, y2 divided by y1 divided by x2. It's going to do that first. So you can use parentheses just like you do in math to say do these things first. let's run this real quick to make sure that it works. So I'm just going to print the slope off immediately afterwards. So let's see what happens. So I printed off, what's the x value of first point? I believe it was 3, and the y value of first point was 6. X value of your second point was 5, y value of your second point was 14. So if we get the same ones, we know the slope should be 4. What do you know? We get 4 out. We're the best. Now, I did forget to put a space on every single one of those, so I'm going to fix that up because that'll annoy me later on. So now we have the slope. In case you didn't know this, our end is going to be this. It's going to be your equation then is y equals x plus b, basically, right? And where the first thing that I'm going to be putting in there is going to be our slope, right? This is like my m value. And the second thing that I'm going to be putting in there is going to be the y-intercept, right? So really all I have to do now is find a way of getting the y-intercept, right? So I need y-intercept is equal to, now that's the big unknown, right? So let's go back to the drawing board and I'll coach you up a little bit. Okay, so let's go back here. So in this problem, I just figured out the slope was 4. So I know my equation should be y equals 4x plus b. Now b is the thing that I want to solve for. So if I want to solve for b, I can choose either one of these 2 points, right? And I'm going to plug it in. So I'm going to choose the very first one, this 3, 6 point. 3 is my x value. 3 is my x value, so I'm going to plug in for x. And 6 is my y value, so I'm going to plug it in for y. So I get 6 equals 4 times 3 plus b. So if I want to get b all by itself, you know, all I'd have to do is subtract 12 from both sides. And so I'd be left with b equals -6. I don't care about this specific case, though. I want to find the general form of how I always find b. So all of this area right here, these are specific numbers, right? But when I figure out what b equals, I want to figure out what caused it to be that, right? So I'm going to write this a little bit differently, right? Let me just get this out of the way here. So this is going to be useful for coding the side. Oh God, that's awful. So I'm going to do that same thing. All b is going to be equal if I know that it's y equals 4x plus b. If I just subtract 4x from both sides, which is allowed, I get y minus 4x is equal to b. So what I did then was I plugged in the 3 and the 6. So basically I have y1 and x1 there, right? And I can even make this more general. In this case it's 4, but typically that's just the slope, right? So let's go back to the coding. All I'm going to say is my y-intercept is whatever my y value is minus slope times x. So let's go back to coding. My y-intercept is going to be y1 minus whatever we found was the slope multiplied by x1. So in this case, we figured out that that should be -6. So let's hope that works. Control S to save, all that Shift F5 to run, and let's roll. Control S. Okay. What's your first point? It is 3, 6. What is your next point? It is 5 and 14. There we go. Works out perfectly. All right.